everybody, and welcome to the Be Elite podcast. My name is Mr. Smith, and I am the podcast advisor here. And today we have a very special episode. Today we have our Bully Prevention Month episode. It is National Bully Prevention Month in October. And joining us today is a member of our awesome counseling department, Miss Lammers. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Hello, everyone.
And we're excited for this podcast. We're going to jump right into this topic right now. So first, I just want to throw it out there. What constitutes bullying? What do you think bullying is? There's no right or wrong answer. It's all your opinion. So go ahead and let me know. I see a hand up. Go right ahead. Oh, the hand went away. It went up again. Go ahead. Go right ahead.
I think bullying is that when you be mean to somebody and you're being very rude to them and you're taking stuff from them and trying to say mean things towards them and trying to see them cry and not being very nice.
Thank you. Absolutely. I wholeheartedly agree on that. Would anybody else like to add what they feel like their definition of bullying is?
I feel like bullying is other kids picking on other kids picking on other people. I mean people, not really kids, but people picking on others because their insecurities and what happened in their life, and they try and be like, okay, well, this didn't happen to you, but it did in my eyes, so I'm going to bully you for something that you didn't even do.
That's a really good point. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing. I see Juju has raised his hand. Go right ahead.
Bullying for me is just doesn't even happen only at school. Could even happen at work. If your boss is hanging that promotion over your head, and just bullying is just making life harder for someone, or just their day harder, or ruining that one moment in their day. That's
Absolutely.
What bullying is for me.
And thank you for saying how it's not just school. Bullying can happen everywhere. And I want to reference our peak performance huddle that we had last week, where we had athletic guest speakers. And one gentleman talked about when he was in college, he was being bullied. So it can happen to everybody. So thank you so much for sharing that. Annabelle, you are up next.
I feel like reason why people bully other people is because they feel insecure about themselves and let it out on other people.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. And I see Katarina has her hand up. Go right ahead.
Yeah, I agree with everyone that has talked so far. If you do one thing, if you say one thing and you don't even mean for it to be that way, they can start bullying you, and that literally, it's sad though, because you don't even try to do anything to that person. And sometimes it's if you say a joke and you don't actually mean it, they can take it the wrong way, and that can lead to bullying. And it's just really sad because like Juju said, it has an impact on someone's day, and bullying should just not exist.
Absolutely, I agree. Thank you for that.
For me, I've actually seen somebody that I'm very close with get bullied, and what I found is that all she would have to say was, hey, I organized this. Hey, I did this. Hey, hi, how are you? And they're like, oh, you said hi, how are you? That's also bullying. They pick on everything. If you just said one word, they'd be like, you said that one word and it wasn't right. So do this and do that. And it's just sad.
Absolutely. Yeah, the nitpicking, especially when it's not even about anything. There's never a good reason to bully ever, but to just take anything and try to twist it around and make it a reason it's not okay. Juju.
Sometimes people aren't bullying, but people will take it as bullying. If I'm just joking around and I say, yo, jokingly, if I go, yo, bro, if it was me versus you, I'd totally win in a fight. Like, that's obviously a joke. I'm not saying I'm going to beat up my friend. But if they take it, oh, he's going to try and beat me up, then that's not really on me. That's on them for the way they interpret it. And that's why sometimes bullying for me is like such a sensitive topic, because not everyone has the same definition. And sometimes that could lead to problems of people who aren't bullying being considered a bully.
That's a really good point, because perception, right? Perception is key. I want to jump into another question real quick, and then I would like to get Miss Lammers' take on it as well. I want to ask, so we kind of talked about what we feel bullying is. How do we feel that bullying manifests itself in school and online? How can we see bullying here, in our school and virtually?
Well, I think in school in general, I think school in general is kids, they're not adults who learn to control like their feelings or emotions more easily. And then I think kids in general, especially teenagers, are really insecure about themselves, so they take that out on others sometimes. And I think that's like a lot more in schools, because we're all kind of forced to be together in a school place, in a classroom, with people like we don't generally get along with. And then we're also hormonal, of course, and we're all like younger, where you don't know how to control like these certain emotions that we have sometimes. And I think that transitions into like people starting to bully others as well.
Excellent point. Thank you.
I feel like school relates to bullying. Is that what like you were saying? How like bullying happens in schools? I feel like that maybe in an online school environment, that somebody in like Zoom raises their hand and the other person raises their hand and they're like, okay, and they choose you, and then they're like, oh, and then this is the answer, and the other guy and the other person's like, hey, that was my answer. You totally stole my answer. I'm going to totally bully you now. I feel like that's kind of a problem, because like even in an online environment, school, in person, whatever, it always like comes down to like, well, not really always comes down, but it's just a little harder for kids.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. And I think, having been a teacher at Elite before I became the marketing coordinator, I think one form that we see is the chat. We do a lot of Zoom, and sometimes the chat becomes that gateway where somebody can, say hurtful things or like strongly oppose an opinion, but in a not so nice way. And I think those are all ways we can come across it. Now, I would like to ask Ms. Lammers, what do you feel are some effective strategies to prevent bullying in schools?
So for us to be verbal and do exactly what we're doing here, to talk about it, to communicate about it, and to let others know that you don't tolerate it. So, when you're in that chat room, not liking them, not putting a heart when somebody says something that's not nice, and encouraging them to speak nicely to others. That's a great way to do that. So that open communication. And also along with that is that sharing that kindness and that respect, both for ourselves and for others, and encouraging that positive self-esteem. If we feel good about ourselves, then we're going to not need to say mean things to others or do mean things to others. And then also creating connections with others. And so I love this, because we're all connecting and we're creating a great positive community to support everyone by doing this, and then saying we don't have a tolerance for bullying.
Absolutely. And I love how you mentioned, kindness, because sometimes we think just, well, how do you, stop bullying? Well, you stand up to them. Okay, well, that could be one part, but it's not the overall answer, right? Because it's kind of the Band-Aid.
Right.
So when it comes to, empathy and kindness, do you feel like, sharing stories about empathy and kindness can be a way to kind of inspire others to not be on the train of thought of bullying?
Absolutely. Because kindness and connection really supports that positive community. And so if we're proactive and we start by just saying hi to others and telling them thank you, giving them compliments, giving them encouragement, then we start to find an inclusive and a more similarities with each other than rather than differences. And when we create that kind of community, then we don't have space for the negatives and the mean words, because we're uplifting everyone when we do that. We're uplifting ourselves, we're uplifting our school, we're uplifting our community, and we're uplifting the world.
I like that. Absolutely. Now, given that, of course, Elite is we're a virtual school. We do virtual learning, we do virtual clubs, we do virtual events. Do you feel like cyberbullying is actually, getting worse as opposed to like bullying that could happen, in person? And in the case of like here at Elite, what can students do to protect themselves against cyberbullying?
Yeah, there's a lot of similarities with regular bullying and cyberbullying. So there's the verbal and the emotional, like repeated negative things that can happen, that can continue to happen, whether you're in person or you're cyberbullying. But some of the differences with cyberbullying is what's online is going to stay there permanently. So that can really negatively affect the person who's being bullied, because they can keep repeating, going back and looking at it. It stays there longer. And so it's tough to step away from that sometimes for the person being bullied. But also that can stay on someone's, it stays on technology. So it's something that can come back. Like if someone is bullying, it can come back to hurt them in the future for their career, for college admissions and other things. And it's also easier to bully online because we've got this protective screen. So it keeps us feeling a little safe, a little distanced from people. And we talked about how that connection really supports that commonality. So having that screen can sometimes make it easier for people to cyberbully. So some of the ways that we can protect ourselves when we're online from that is not talking to people that we don't know online. So staying safe, right? Also, don't post personal pictures, and limit the friends that you're in contact with, and choose those contacts really carefully. And also really support each other. So part of that bullying is responding to posts that are negative to others. So being aware to not respond to things that are going to hurt others.
Absolutely. Thank you. I see we have a hand up. Annabelle, go ahead.
Yeah.
I just wanted to agree with Miss Lammers and Mr. Smith about in chat people could argue and start a fight instead of conversating about it reasonably.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. Absolutely. And again, I'm going to reference the huddle from Peak Performance, because one of the gentlemen made a really good point. He said, back in my days, we didn't have Instagram or TikTok or Snapchat. So when I was getting bullied at school, when I went home, the bullying stayed at school. And now with technology, if we allow it, it follows us. So, Ms. Lammers really made a really good point about that, really being diligent about, who's on your social media, who's in your social circle, because you can control that. And if you don't know somebody, it's probably not a good idea to engage in that conversation, because you just don't know what kind of Pandora's box that's going to open up. Would anybody else like to comment about cyberbullying?
So I would like to. So I was just looking at this is about cyber in general and cyberbullying and things. I looked at my, recently I noticed that they have a new major for cyber defense and cyber, like for those things protection, and they have. So I just think also it shows that it is growing since they are making things in colleges specifically for that major, helping out and teaching people how to like protect themselves against it.
Thank you for that. Absolutely. And it shows you the need for it. It really does. We have another hand up. Katarina, go ahead.
I feel like as technology is advancing, like cyberbullying will probably get worse as time goes on. And I mean, like, you can't really stop it because, like Miss Lammers said, you can't permanently delete what's online. So I agree, like, you have to not post personal photos online and, like, don't, like, talk to strangers and limit your friendships with people that you really trust. Like, I feel like the only people that you can, like, really trust, like, with all of your being is your family. Because as far as, like, we know, like, family will always help you, like, in these types of situations. And it, like, when you feel like it won't get better, it will. Like, you just have to, like, just believe in it, pretty much.
Thank you for that. Absolutely.
I think
Miss
what
Lammers. Oh, go ahead.
what she just said is so important, because what you all are doing right now is preventing cyberbullying. It's preventing bullying, because you're communicating about it, you're connecting, and you're saying, I'm not going to tolerate this. And so the more we do this, the less bullying there will be. So we do have power.
Thank you for that. Absolutely. And I think having this forum to be able to talk about it is great, and being able to have the podcast as this, I'm overjoyed with it, because I definitely want this to be an outlet for students. It's student driven, and this is a hot button issue, and it always will be for students. I would like to ask you, Ms. Lammers, what kind of resources does Elite have that students could utilize in the instance of bullying?
So we have the school counseling team. So you can always reach out to us, and we will support you and work with you to create a plan of action. There is also in the parent and student portal, there is policies and procedures for parents and students, page 90 to 93, if anyone ever needs to look at it. And it goes through the references and the resources for what Elite has, and it has a zero tolerance. And so the first step would definitely be to talk to an adult, to reach out to your director, to reach out to a school counselor, and then we can create a safety plan for you from there. And I believe also, Mr. Smith, we're offering some resources. Is that correct? Some online resources that can support anyone to discourage bullying, and also, if you are being bullied, to support yourself.
Absolutely. Once this video is on YouTube, if you go into the description section, you'll see our resources that we have for you. So that way you can just click the link and be taken to those resources. They're all free to use, and there's a lot of great information on there. So, but also, like Ms. Lambert said, the counseling department, they are there for you, and you can always go on to eliteacademic.com. And if you go over to the counseling page, you'll see all your counselors, the whole counseling department right there. And everybody is super ready to help, and they're just awesome. Our counseling team is second to none. So if you ever have any issues or anything that's coming up, please do not hesitate to reach out to them. I know many of you spoke to counselors in the past, and you know how fantastic they are here, but we have grown. We have an amazing team. So please go check out the website and bookmark it. And same with the resources. Once you have these resources open, bookmark them, because you want them easy to access. And if you're like me, I mean, I have like a million tabs open on my computer. Don't do that. Just bookmark it. It's so much better, and your computer won't crash on me. All right. So in closing, what can students do to participate in National Bullying Prevention Month? I'll throw that out to anybody. Whether you're Ms. Lammers or whether you're students, what can you do to help with that? I see Juju has his hand up. Go for it.
One of the easiest things that you could do is just be there for your friends, for your family, or just even a stranger. You know, one of my favorite quotes is, always treat everybody with kindness, because you never know what's going on in their life, which is 100% true. Because sometimes if you just listen to people's stories and like what's going on with their day, you'll understand the heartache and the hardships that they've been going through, and then you'll have some sympathy for them.
Absolutely. Thank you. And we have another hand up. Catherine, go right ahead.
Well, what I would say to stop it is probably if you see someone like bullying someone else, try and stop it. Like, I think what I always say in my head, if you see something, say something and try and do something about it. So I think, and in the future, if you say something, then it'll be in their head like for a while, and they'll be like, oh, what I did was bad. I should have not done that. They'll regret it. So I think if you see something, try and do something about it.
Thank you for that. Absolutely. We have another hand up. All right, go right ahead.
You know what's better than just watching other people bully each other? What's better is like you help them understand to not do anything like that, or like bully anyone or do anything like that. It's kind of better.
I agree. Absolutely. Thank you for that. All right, we got another hand up. Go right ahead.
In my perspective, I would go tell a person nearby and let them know what's going on and what's happening. Or I would try to like interfere and try to stop the bullying that's happening that I'm watching, and try to like reason with the bully that's bullying the person. And I would also like try to let people know that's around me and let people know that's closer to me.
Absolutely.
Thank you. All right, we got another hand up. Go
Can
right
I add
ahead.
to what Sanaya
Oh,
said?
yeah, go ahead.
Something that's really important, whether it's online or in person, is to watch ourselves and how we react to it, because sometimes without knowing, we encourage that bullying. So once again, adding an emoji to something on the chat to encourage it, or to not speak up, or to stand by the bully, that also is part of the bullying problem. So getting help and talking to an adult is really, really essential too.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for that. All right, we have another spotlight. Go right ahead.
Something that I like to repeat to myself is treat others as yourself. And I really like that because, it's treating others like you would treat yourself. So.
Oh, I really like that. Yes, thank you. Thank you for that. All right, got another hand up. Let me go right ahead.
My closest friend got bullied, and then the only thing that I could do was literally just talk to him, help him through it. And then after just trying to help him, and then I told him to go talk to his parents. And then if he didn't want to, I helped him talk through it. That's how I am. I'm just like, if somebody's going like bad, I go up to them, help them, try to make them feel better.
Thank you for that. Absolutely. Absolutely. Wow, so much good feedback about this, and you all really understand it. And that just makes me so happy, because it's a scary day and age. Technology's kind of taken over, and I'm so happy to see all of you willing to talk about all this and talk about the solutions to it. So that's fantastic. Ms. Lammers, do you have anything before we close?
Well, one part that's really important is to support yourself. So to nourish your own self-esteem and your own self-worth, because if we feel good about ourselves, then we don't need to hurt others. And instead we can lift others up. So being there for yourself first will create that community of love and goodness and kindness and empathy.
Thank you for that. Absolutely. Well, I want to thank all of our students for being here today. I want to thank Ms. Lammers for being here today. It's greatly appreciated. It's such an important topic, and we could not have this discussion without the counseling department, because you play such an integral part of Elite as a whole. So thank you for that. Thank you, everybody, for tuning into the Be Elite podcast. You can find us on Elite Academic Academy's YouTube channel. Please subscribe so you can be alerted to new episodes as they become available. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time. Take care.
We are the best of the best, flying above all the rest. Elite eagles on a